All right, what's going on, y'all? Side Perspectives, GeoFux here, and I'm on it, y'all. I'm with everybody else. Okay, I'm on it. I'm with everybody else. We really do need to just. There just needs to be more conversations around the fact that we are not making living wages, y'all. There was and I'm gonna, have a screenshot of it, but people are making a new category for what used to be considered the social economic classes that exist in the USA. So you gotta excuse one of the boys. Mickey is drinking water. Mickey, it is not that serious. Anyways, so let's get into this. So one of the breakdowns was how $53,000 to $100,000 a year is now being considered what used to be considered middle class is now being considered lower class because of the cost of living. I'm not even making $53,000. I make $49,280. I, used to make $40K for basically 2 years. Then I got a 5% pay raise at my previous job, which put me to $42,000. And then I job hopped after wasting 2 years at my previous job, which put me from $42K to $49,280. So I essentially got a $7,280 increase. However, thanks to today's cost of living, inflation, price gouging, you really can't tell that you got a raise because you're literally basically making the same amount of money. And in fact, arguably, you got a pay cut. And in reality, for those of us who have degrees, certifications, years of experience, a combination, we were never being paid, but we were supposed to be getting paid in the first place. Let me break it down. What I currently earn at $49,280 per year is essentially what I should have got when I graduated with my bachelor's. That's right, in 2014, I should have been making $49,280, $50,000 a year. I'm 10 years too late for that. I'm well over a decade late for what I should have been earning, which is why if I was supposed to be making basically 50K 10 years ago, by now I should be at the six figures or a little over six figures by now. But that's what I'm talking about can't really see it, but you see that right there, that degree plaque for my Master's of Arts and Social Sciences with a concentration in gender, human sexuality, U.S. history, and politics. Yeah, useless. Because again, a lot of us have these degrees that do little to nothing for us. We end up with all of this student loan debt. And yes, this was a personal choice and decision. However, a lot of us were literally told, especially for my Gen Z and millennials and Gen Z and Gen Xers. Let's not forget about Gen X. 3 separate generations were literally sold the lie of the importance of a college education, and if you don't go to college, you're going to be flipping burgers at McDonald's, which was extremely classist and disrespectful when you sit down and look at it, because they're literally looking down on people for the type of work that they're doing, despite the fact that you need those people in order for these fast food restaurants to maintain and stay afloat, regardless of the person's profession or education, or years of experience. In my opinion, they should be getting paid a living, thriving wage, considering that they're putting in time, energy, and labor. But okay, so they literally use classism and disrespect to continue to sell this lie about the importance of an education, when in reality, the vast majority of college degrees are useless financially, economically, if we're going to look at it from a capitalist standpoint. Because in a capitalist society, you have to earn capital in order to pay for basic necessities such as shelter, food, water, clothing, health insurance, education, daycare, etc. So you can't be going to school for useless ass degrees financially just because it's something that you like or you have an interest in. Unfortunately, a lot of us, we didn't know that. We were literally 17, 18, 19 years old being told to pick majors that we were going to use for the rest of our lives to get a degree in something that we didn't even know what we were getting a degree in. Then we were lied and told that, hey, don't even worry about the student loans because you're going to have a 6-month grace period. That's right. 6 months after you graduate, that's when the payments will be due. So a lot of us thought, oh, that's great. I got half a year to find a job. Not to mention with my degree, I'm supposed to be making all of this money anyways. And I'm still waiting to see where all of this money is at. Like, again, if I could go back 14 years ago when I was getting ready to graduate from high school, I would have never went to college. Or I should say I would have done probably the associate's degree because I was able to get a full ride scholarship and I didn't have to go into any student loan debt for those 2 degrees. But after my associate's degree, I would have stopped because arguably the vast majority of these degrees economically, financially, living in a capitalist society have little to no value in the job field. Now, education, knowledge is power, in my humble opinion. You know, I enjoy learning. I enjoy the academic pursuit of knowledge. I learned a lot, but looking at it from a financial, economic standpoint, living in a capitalist society, a lot of these liberal art degrees are a waste of time. It just needs to be said. I mean, I'm sorry, but you cannot, as long as we're living in capitalism, you cannot tell people that are coming from middle class and working poor backgrounds to pursue degrees in liberal arts, sociology, philosophy, psychology, education, being a teacher. It is what it is. Economics, it is what it is. You cannot political science, it is what it is. History, it is what it is. You can't tell people coming from working poor, working class, middle class families to pursue the same type of leisure studies that people from upper class, wealthy, 1% families are doing. Because at the end of the day, you need to be able to earn money. You don't have wealthy parents and families that are going to be paying for you to go to school full time. You don't have wealthy families to lean on when you graduate and you can't find a job and you need help paying rent or paying your car payments or getting groceries. No, you got to get it out of the mud. Now, granted, I'm not saying that I didn't have any privileges because I keep stating this. My grandparents, thankfully to them, they provided me with a middle class, arguably a upper middle class lifestyle growing up. However, my grandparents are not my parents. And also, I've been an adult now for the past 13 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm 31, about to be 32. So really going on 14 years of adulthood. And yeah, my grandparents might have been upper middle class, but I personally am not. I am working class. Working poor, check to check, living. Right? Even though I was taught, go to college, get your education, get your work experience, network, but again, the type of work that I'm in is social services, human and social services, nonprofit work. And I'm here to tell you, human and social services are some of the most low paid professions you can possibly get into. I mean, look at your social workers, look at your DHS, Department of Health and Human Services workers, look at your nonprofit workers, look at your school teachers, public education teachers, K through 12. Again, we are not paid a lot, despite the fact that we do some of the most emotionally, mentally taxing work, and we're expected to work well over 40 hours a week. We're also expected to put up with some of the most unruly people you'll ever fucking meet. But okay, we're literally expected to play, miracle workers to help the clients and the families and communities that we serve, despite the fact that we are not paid well, and also despite the fact that we are not giving adequate resources to actually meet the needs of the people that we service. Not to mention that we're not even eligible for the services that we're helping other people get, and yet we're not paid enough in the first place. So it's just really wild. Like, a lot of your human and social service employees also need the same human and social services programs that they're facilitating. Make that make sense. That's right. We too need EBT, food stamps, bridge cards. We too need Medicaid, Medicare. We too need assistance with paying rent. You know what I'm saying? Because again, we're not paid living wages. It's just wild to me that, like, and then we're expected to waste 40 or more hours of our lives at work. We can't get this time back. We can't get the energy back. You know, there is no upward mobility. It's literally a rat race from hell. You go from one job to the next. A lot of people pretty much know that they're gonna have to job hop if they ever want to make an actual raise, because staying at a job in this day and age is literally just signing up to be exploited over and over again, because many employers do not think they should ever have to pay you more than what they're already paying you. They're completely fine with milking the cow. Literally, you could take that same approach that people use, that cliche saying for romantic relationships. You know, the cliche saying, why purchase the cow when I can get the milk for free? Well, guess what? Your employer is doing the exact same thing. Why purchase the cow when I can get the milk for free? Why give you a raise or hire additional employees when I can make you, one person, do the job of 4 to 5 people while only paying you the same low wage for one job? And that's exactly what's typically happening. So again, they overwork you until you eventually burn the fuck out and or get fed up and start looking for other jobs and opportunities. Then they wonder why they have professions like teachers and social workers and anybody in the human services and social services field, nonprofit world. They wonder why there's such high turnover rates and why there's worker shortages in these particular professions. Because let's be honest, why should somebody go and get a degree in education if they're going to be sitting up living check to check? Yet they've got 50, 60, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student loan debt to only make $50K or less. These are not, selling tactics I would want to use. Yeah, go to college so you too can live in poverty. Doesn't really sound promising. And then they're mad because more and more people are going on social media. They're on TikTok, they're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on YouTube, they're doing podcasts, they're protesting, and they're actually educating and informing people, do not do this. Look what happened to me. Because me personally, similar to a lot of other people, when I make my videos, I recognize that I made dumb, bonehead decisions. I made horrible choices provided with the information that was given to me 14 years ago, 10 years ago, 7 years ago. So when I make this content, I'm making this content with the hopes that somebody that's young and starting out is able to see my videos and see other people similar to me videos, so you can make better choices. So you can make better decisions not to waste your time at some stinking ass college and some useless ass degree field financially and economically. Because I don't want anybody else going into massive student loan debt just so they can have a picture of a piece of paper hanging up on the wall that has little to no value economically speaking. Because myself and many of other people can tell you, the return on investment with a lot of these degrees does not exist. Again, 10 years ago, come May of this year, 2024, I graduated in May of 2014 with a Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology and a minor in Substance Abuse Treatment. 7 years ago, April 30th of this year, literally coming up, I graduated with a Master's of Arts in Social Sciences with a concentration on women, gender, human sexuality, U.S. history, and politics. 12 years ago, I graduated with an Associate's of Liberal Arts in Arts and also an Associate's in General Studies. And then 14 years ago, come June, I graduated with my high school diploma. And this is the out cold part. It didn't matter that I graduated with honors. Every time I graduated from college, I graduated with honors. And I've had 3 college graduations, okay? Associates, bachelor's, masters. Didn't matter that I graduated with honors from high school and had a full ride scholarship to get my associate's degree. And I'm saying all this because they literally tell you, you got to get a 4.0, you got to network, you got to join student-led organizations, clubs, fraternities, sororities, you got to network, you got to do this, you got to sell you got to sell your life. You got to give your life to the devil, essentially, to get a decent paying job and work your way up so you can make good money. It's all bullshit. Because depending on your field of study, you're probably wasting your time. In fact, you're better off networking than actually going to school. Because you know what's funny? C's get degrees. And I have seen time and time again how people who bullshit at college but barely made it by graduate and land amazing paying jobs because of the networks that they had, not because of their work ethic, not because of their 4.0 GPA, not because of they did all this volunteer and civic engagement, but because they were in the right fraternity, sorority, or student-led organization that allowed them to meet the right people who got them into positions to make decent money. So yes, I make these videos so you don't have to make the same stupid-ass decisions that I made. Hopefully you can learn from me and many others to avoid making the same mistakes. Because that's really the honest to God truth to why I make these videos. Because again, if I would have had this information 14 years ago, I would have avoided a lot of shit. And that's just keeping it real. And I'll leave off with saying, yes, education is power, knowledge is power. But is it worth you going into massive student loan debt? Not to mention, I'm going to keep saying this, a lot of us have degrees and we're not even working in our degree field. We're working in jobs that have little to nothing to do with our education. And we're doing it because we have to pay bills. We have responsibilities. We have families. We have children. We have dependents. We have people who are depending upon us. So we get out here and we get whatever job that is available to us. Many of us have 2 and 3 jobs, full-times, part-times, side hustles. Some people are working 2 full-time jobs. So it's a never-ending cycle of poverty, being burnt out, being exploited, and living check to check. So yeah, when people talk about the quality of life, yeah, it's typically piss poor. I wonder why. Because I don't know that many happy people who are living check to check. And at the same time, I'm reminded to count my blessings, to recognize the privileges that I do have, to be thankful for the opportunities and the people that are in my life, to be grateful to the opportunities and the people that are in my life, to be grateful to the things that I have been able to obtain and accomplish. Because there are people who have it way worse off than me. So I'm just, I'm an open book. I'm going to keep talking about this shit because it's freaking crazy when you sit down and think about the trials and tribulations and the struggles that so many of us have to go through. And then to think still you're blessed, you're privileged. Because again, I can't keep reiterating, there are people who have it worse off than you, okay? So please be aware of that. Recognize the privileges that you do have, and at the same time, recognize that you deserve more and you deserve better. But at the end of the day, until we collectively come together to voice out our concerns about the injustices that many of us are facing, it's not going to get any better. We have to stand up against status quo. We got to stop going with the flow and settling for, well, this is just how things are, because it's not. We've allowed it to be this way. Life can be better for you, your family, your friends, your community. We just got to come together, in my humble opinion. Information is in the description box below. I'm out.